Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy Lee Taylor, and
And I'm Chris Jensen.
we are the Spirituality and Aging Podcast. I hope we are welcoming you back today. We have a very interesting conversation about what are mind waves, what do they mean, and we're going to talk about Patanjali, who is a wise yogi who talked a lot about this subject. And really, what we're looking to do here is give you some relief from this onslaught of never ending thoughts, especially in this chaotic world that we're living with right now. It's even more critical that we practice calming our mind and getting those racing thoughts to just stop, because that's where so much stress and anxiety comes from, and the body suffers. The mental and the emotional suffer. And so it's really, really, really one of the most important yoga practices that you'll ever learn is how to calm your mind. And it's really what meditation is all about. So we're going to talk about that today. So stay tuned. You're going to hear about the fluctuations of your mind and what Patanjali called Vritti, which is spelled V as in Victor, Ritti. Sounds weird, but you'll get used to that. You can always Google that word to see what he says it means. And it's really about the different parts of your mind and how to work with them and how to calm them down at will. So Vritti really refers to the mind waves, the energy waves coming from the mind, caused from thoughts. So if that sounds valuable to you, stick around. We'll be here for about 25 minutes talking about it. And we welcome all of you. So according to Patanjali, Vritti refers to the thoughts that surface in your mind, and he often described them as a whirlpool. We talk about them like monkey mind and chatter, like one mind jumping from one place to the next, that it's very hard to calm down. People often have this very much when they go to sleep and they want to close their eyes and just rest. But boy, the thoughts are just, like a race car going around the track, and it's impossible for them to stop it long enough to actually get some rest. It can be really frustrating. And then you've got a response spiral going on where you have racing thoughts, and now you're anxious because you've got racing thoughts. And boy, sleep is going to be far away if you can't control that particular pattern. So in the Yoga Sutras upon Patanjali, he talks about a yogic term that is called chitta. Did I say that right, Chris?
Yes.
Chitta, vritti, nirodha. And chitta is the mind. Vritti refers to thoughts, and nirodha means control of. So in other words, yoga practices that still the mind and free your thoughts. But here's an interesting question that of course came up for me, and I'm going to ask Chris about this because she's the person that teaches the higher awareness kind of yogas like this, and she knows the answers. So
maybe
the first thing that of course when I hear chitta, vritti, nirodha, what is the difference between your mind and thoughts?
Well, it's subtle. I mean, what yogis think of as mind is everything that all of the cognition that allows higher consciousness to express. So your memory, your judgment, your imagination, and your thoughts and feelings are part of that.
So that's all the things that he defines, the 5 things that he defines as mind stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk, that's good, because we're going to talk about a couple of those today. I don't know how much time we'll have or how far we'll get, but we're going to talk about the way he breaks it down. Sometimes that helps you understand how your mind works better, so that's really about what this conversation is about, is getting a glimpse of how your mind works, so you can respond to it better. You can work with it, tell it to calm down, have better control over what those processes are. So as a beginner meditation technique, when people come to the yoga center, actually, like we use a technique where they focus the third eye either on one single thing, like it could be and it's usually something that is really comfortable for you to focus on, easy for you to focus on, like an orange or a rose. Or in my case, I liked focusing on a candle flame, because that just automatically would calm my mind down. I don't know why, but it did. So that was easy for me to be able to actually look at a flame of a candle and have the mind just calm, the body would calm, everything would calm. And then eventually I could close my eyes, and in the third eye be able to see the flame, and that would do exactly the same thing. So after that, okay, so where was I? In the, talking about the mind's eye, and you begin to learn how to channel your focus. And that will allow you to take control of the energy mind waves that are coming out of you and that are actually surrounding you. So we'll talk about that as well in a couple of practices. So did you want to do any, you look like you want to say something, or maybe do a technique
Yeah.
or something?
Well, yeah, what I wanted to say was, one of the things that's very important is first just becoming aware of the thoughts in your, and because we all have these racing thoughts, and we sometimes act and behave in a way that we're surprised about later, and because we're not aware of the underlying thoughts and feelings that are going on.
And isn't that what the focus technique of like focusing in one spot is a way for you to become aware, to witness those thoughts?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
You want to first see the thoughts. You want to become aware of the thoughts, and then you can shed them, because very often we try to put our attention on something and the thoughts are going on and we're trying to just repress them, and it doesn't work.
Right.
We need to be aware of them and then just let them go.
Right. So, and that actually segues into what I was going to say next about as you become aware of the patterns of thought that you have, as you're paying attention to your thoughts, even on a daily basis. Like one of the other things that we suggest you do is spend time at the end of the day looking at where your mind went. Where did all your, like you get to the end of the day and say you're a journaler, or you just like to look at where your thoughts were the whole day. Where did you spend the most of your time? Were you frustrated? Were you planning? Were you looking behind you? Were you dealing with the day and stressing out? Where are the thought patterns actually going? Because this will tell you a lot about what's inside of you and what needs to be dealt with in order to be able to make progress in yoga, right? In order to be able to learn how to calm yourself and how to be able to get into a place of stillness, because all of these objects that come flying out of your thoughts are obstacles to getting into that stillness. So you start watching those patterns, you're becoming aware of them. So and once you do become aware of them, you can actually learn to let go of them, which is what you were just saying. Become aware of them, and then you know what you need to let go of. So Patanjali talks about how there's different fluctuations of the mind, and he talks about them coming in 5 different states. And we've talked about this, and of course certainly learned this in our yoga teaching. So I thought we'll just touch on a couple of them. I don't know that we'll get through all 5, but depending on our time here, I'm going to have Chris just talk about them. I'll ask her questions about what these breakdowns in Vritti or mind waves really mean. And so let's start with the first one, which is it pramana, proper knowledge? Is that what it is?
Yeah, proper knowledge or right knowledge. And
right knowledge, that's the one I'm used to. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a state in which the mind reflects reality. How does this type of mind play out in our lives, and how does recognizing it help us understand what ego is up to?
Yeah, our right knowledge often gets us into trouble because we know something about something, let's
We
say
think we know something about something.
right. And that our ego grabs a hold of that and just decides that's who we are. There are people, well, there's people who are professors, I know someone who's a professor at a university, and she, no matter what situation she's in, like she can be in a friend situation, she immediately goes into this role of being a teacher. She can't be anything else. And so the right knowledge, her ego is so attached to that, it can't get free of those thoughts. And
can't see around it, like there's only like a tunnel focus, right? Like I'm right, I'm going down this road, and you don't get to see anything else outside of that on the perimeter,
Yeah,
that's the way
that's, and also when you think, I'm the expert here, that the ego gets so strong that if someone points out something that you don't know, you go into a tizzy.
Yeah. Or it's different.
Whereas, if you're not so attached to your right knowledge, you
Yeah.
might say, oh, hey, that's interesting. Let me learn about that.
Right, right.
Well, you know,
So that is the little trap about having right knowledge. When you become the expert, you can be very annoying.
yes, you can be annoying and
Yeah.
it's detrimental to you, if you are so
For your growth, your own personal growth,
attached to
right?
personal growth. Yeah, you don't grow, you get stuck.
That's right. That's the annoying friend that knows freaking everything about
Right.
everything about
Yeah,
everything.
right.
And eventually you just want to avoid them because they know everything.
I had a friend who was involved in yoga for a long time and she taught for a while and then she stopped teaching. And she said to me, one of the reasons she stopped teaching, she said, what do you do if someone asks you a question and in yoga and you don't really know the answer? And I say, well, I
I
tell
don't
them,
know.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I do know someone who probably does, who might help you, but, and she said, well, I couldn't do that. And I
Wow.
could not do that. And she said, because I felt like I had to know, that's why I stopped, because I realized I shouldn't be doing this.
Oh gosh, that's a trap that feels horrible to everybody.
That's a trap. It's a real trap, and we want to be open to not knowing and to learning
Yeah.
and growing,
Yeah. And if truth be told, like if they were honest to themselves, it would feel bad to them too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
she quit for a reason, right? It didn't
Right.
feel
She
good.
quit because she knew there was something wrong there.
Yeah. But couldn't like acknowledge it and just like let go and say, I don't know the answer to
Yeah.
that.
Didn't want to let go of that, that
Yeah.
sense of, oh, I'm the one who knows.
Yeah, that's the downfall sometimes when you have titles for people and all that kind of stuff.
That's true.
It's-
That's
It can be
true.
really annoying.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. Now let's go on to number 2, which is, I think I'm saying this right. These are Hindu terms, so I'm
Mm.
playing with the pronunciation. I may not get it right.
Yeah.
Viparyaya, which is misconception, a
Yeah.
state when the mind makes a wrong judgment, which in time is replaced by proper knowledge.
Yeah, we call it wrong knowledge at the Yoga Center.
What knowledge?
Wrong knowledge.
Wrong knowledge.
There's
Okay.
right
So
knowledge.
right and wrong.
Yeah, just to counter the right knowledge.
Gotcha.
Wrong knowledge is even worse than right knowledge. I mean,
Okay.
right knowledge is it's not good because we get attached and our view gets puffed up. Wrong knowledge leads
It's
us
just wrong.
yeah. I mean, people once thought the world was flat, and everybody knew that was the case.
Right.
That's where prejudice comes from. That's where
Yes.
all kinds
Yes.
all kinds of misconceptions, and people get
Yes.
very attached to their wrong knowledge as well.
We have a lot of that going on in the world right now.
We
Called
do.
lies. We have a lot of wrong knowledge going around that people believe and that are not reality or
Yeah.
not factual. So that's
People
a
are willing
great example of it.
to just believe this and not explore it and not be open. Like someone might point it out to them. They might say
Right.
to you, hey, what you're saying there, that here's why I think that's not correct or whatever. And they don't want to hear. They don't want to hear.
Yeah. Oh, God,
This is, I know, and we get very attached to our wrong knowledge as well as the right knowledge. So
that's so
both
true.
have to be shed. I mean, you think that right knowledge is good and it's helpful to some extent, but you have to shed that. But the
Yeah.
wrong knowledge is more tricky. The wrong
No.
knowledge,
It
you
can
don't.
be dangerous.
It
Yeah.
can be very dangerous to you and
Yes.
to others. And so
To others. Yeah, absolutely.
so those are yeah, we call them hindrances at the Yoga Center. They're some of the hindrances of the mind.
Hindrances. Okay.
And you need to, we need to do whatever we can to become aware of our wrong knowledge as well as our right knowledge. In the right knowledge, we want to become aware of how it's infecting us and others. In the wrong knowledge, we got to get down to the core and discover what is right and true.
Okay, so at the risk of overstepping into where we are in the world right now, I don't want to get tied up in that, but this particular wrong knowledge thing is something that everybody is facing on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And and you correct me if I'm wrong here, but how I often deal with it is when I hear it from somebody that I would otherwise have thought they must think like me, right? They can see that this is this is not real, this is a lie. But I often am, faced with people that believe something that is not true. And what I won't do is try to convince them it's true. Number one.
Smart.
Number two is I will be curious about, like, not get into why do you think that, because I kind of know why they think that, it's like all the stuff that's going on in the world. But how could we both talk about this in a way that neither of us has to be on the right side or the wrong side? You know what I mean? Like, how can we share this data in a way that we both open and explore this situation for new ways to not be divided, but be together about this particular subject? Does that make sense? Like, yeah, I know that you believe that, but what if this was happening? Or, you know what I mean? Like, how do you really see that? What does that mean to you? Ask them questions, that kind of thing. So that there's not this big divide, this wall between us, because I know you're wrong and they know I'm wrong, and dang, nothing's happening,
Yeah, you have to get out of right and wrong right away. And you have to, the only way to reach someone, like someone who's, let's say they're really steeped in some wrong knowledge, and you're very aware of that.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is be respectful of them.
Right.
And I always try to touch them. I try to get into my heart and touch them.
Oh God, Chris, that's really good. That's such great advice.
Just
that's what we need right now.
Yeah, that's
be respectful. Don't beat them up because they don't have the same. What's going on in your head is not the same going on in their head. Respect them for who they are. Send them some love and just be open.
And be open. Yeah. And I remember way back when I was younger and I was very involved in some political stuff, and
she's gonna admit it.
And I remember that I was, having all of these thoughts about people who didn't believe the same way I did.
Yes.
And there was a line from a Bob Dylan song that he said, "Fearing not, I become my own enemy in the instant that I preached." And that struck me like a knife right through me. I thought, oh my God. That is exactly what I'm doing. It's exactly what I'm doing. And that got me completely out of all of it.
Say it again, slow.
Yeah. Fearing not, I become my own enemy in the instant that I preached.
Wow.
So, I was preaching.
Right.
And I was being just like the people that, my anger and frustration was just like the people that I was so-called preaching against. I mean, it was just, it was so impacting. I remember I just got this whole shudder in my body, and I stopped. She completely changed from then on.
Transformed you on the spot.
Yeah.
Stop preaching. Acknowledge who they are. Be respectful. We're repeating this for you listeners because this can really help you right now.
Very, very important.
The way the world is right now. Be open. Be respectful. Don't try to cram your ideas down their throat. And you can also be open to conversation, like, well, what do you why do you think that is? Or, if you really want to go down that road, or you're just open and accepting and respectful for who they are, and you move on. But you aren't sending them hate. You aren't, beating them up for being in the position that they're in. You aren't judging them for being one thing or another because
that's the key, right? Right there. No judgment.
Yeah.
No judgment.
Yes. So what we're saying is that nobody needs to win the battle, and there's no energetic tie that you take with you. Each person walks away going, well, she's a twit, or she, I don't like her anymore, or whatever that is, that energy that you take away. No, not good. So if you have these interactions with people and you send love, it's okay not to have got your point across. It's okay not to have to explain, why that person's wrong or whatever it is. Just send them love. Let the energy be one of connection instead of division. Boy, if we could all do that right now in this state that the world is in, we'd make some headway.
The incredible transformation,
It would
connection.
be for,
That's really the key there, connecting, allowing yourself the freedom to connect with someone who's very
to
different.
connect. Yes, 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 yes. Instead of
that's
having
great.
this, having to say, oh, you keep hearing how we're all so divided. No, no, no. We don't have to be.
Right,
We used to be connected. Just don't judge them.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
This is so important. I'm so glad we got to this one, because this is really one of the reasons I wanted to do this talk, because so many people are struggling with that feeling of division right now in the world. And what am I supposed to do about it? I'm just one little person. Well, right there, every person that you meet during the day, you can do that with.
Mhm.
You can do that with. You can be open. You can be receptive. You can be non-judgmental, and you can send them love. And if you walk away with that energy, you've had a good connection.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, God.
And you
Right?
have transformation right there for everybody involved.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah, I'm getting the chills on that one. That is totally true. You
Yeah,
will have
yeah.
transformation on the spot,
Right,
and everybody goes away feeling better.
yeah,
And we really need that right now. We really need an energetic shift where we're not emphasizing the differences. We're, the non-connected, the division, because that's what's been fueled. And we need to emphasize, no, we're one.
and you feel better within yourself
Yeah.
when you're connecting and not judging.
Yes.
It's freeing for you as well.
Yes, you're in
A lot of energy gets tied up there.
That's exactly what, that's the point. You're not tying up your energy and leaving it behind in a bad way.
Yeah.
You're opening your energy, and it doesn't matter what they think or what you think. You're still making that human to human love connection.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. That, listeners, that was worth staying with us right there.
Right.
If you can do that, your life is going to get way better.
Right
And-
now.
and right now, and your mind will be much calmer. You
Yeah.
won't be, all tied up thinking what you can do to help, or what you can do to get the heck away from what's going on in the world. All of those things, you're going to have a much steadier path of just walking through what's going on, and being able to hold that focus of love in your heart. So thank you for that. That was really important. Okay, so then the last two, and I'm just going to put these together, and you can kind of comment on them, because we're coming close to our, I like to stay around 25, 30 minutes. So the other two that Patanjali talks about is Nidra, which is deep sleep state where the mind doesn't really, exists, but it's in sleep. And then Vritti, which is memory, that which is stored in the mind, and yoga aims to still and attain a superior state of mind. So maybe you can comment on those two.
Yeah. Well, the sleep that Patanjali talks about is when you kind of get numb. It's like a numb state, like if you're just sort of, I remember someone I worked with at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he just lost all his energy. He ran at his monitor like that, nothing.
Sleeping with his eyes open.
Right. So that's a state you want to avoid. Like if you're going to meditate, you want to be alert and focused. It's not
Yes.
a sleepy state. It's not a numb state. It's not a blank state. It's
Yes.
a focused state. And so that state of mind, and it happens, you get tired and you get into that state, but
Right.
That's not a state that's going to help you progress. And memories, well, memories are a problem. We all have good memories, bad memories, but you and I can be talking, and maybe I say something about an avocado, and it reminds you of an avocado that did something awful to you a year ago.
Somebody threw at my head.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I'm talking about an avocado and using it as a meditation object, and
And you're gone.
You're back at the person who threw it at you. So
Yes.
So
Yes.
memories pull our attention. They take us away from what we're doing. They make us do and say things that are really wrong because we're not hearing right. Or
Yes. Right.
so you want to do your best to be aware of memories and try to shed them when they come up. Like just label it. That happened in the past. This is where I am now. But some memories are troubling. Some are more troubling than others. Some are very happy memories, but they still distract us.
They're still distracting you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think we can go past that point without mentioning if somebody is experiencing some kind of trauma
That's different.
And that is a whole different thing. That's not what we're talking about here. You can't just take trauma and throw it out the window with one let go exercise.
Yeah.
There's a whole process of healing that needs to go on there, and that is not what we're covering here. So just so that you're clear.
Yeah, very,
know,
very important point about any kind of really deep-seated,
Pain,
hurt
yeah.
or trauma or
Yes.
memory that, then you're better off getting some professional help with that.
Yes,
'Cause
definitely.
that's not what this is about. This is about the memories like the avocado. Yeah.
So the point of acknowledging all these different states of mind is that they're all going to happen when you start to learn to meditate.
Mm.
And so when you recognize them, you're able to just go, okay, name it, let it go.
Yeah.
Name it, let it go. And then it doesn't have this mystery thing like, oh, what's that? Now your mind's like racing down the road trying to explain what the heck that was that just went by, like a dog chasing tires on a car, right? Moving. So that's one of the reasons to learn these amazing things that we have, these wisdom books that come from ancient yogis and stuff can help us so much really know what's going on, so that we use them as little guidelines for how to get into a yogic state, which is basically how to balance and be in harmony, harmony of body, mind, and spirit. That is what yoga is all about.
It is.
So your mind is going to be one of your biggest challenges. And, I was going to give you a tip for today, but boy, we gave you the best exercise ever.
Yeah.
in that one, talking about, how to deal with divisiveness right now in the world. So, God bless everybody. Please stay in a loving state as much as you possibly can. And I know that's a challenge. But as yogis, as people that are on the spiritual path, it's important to us to be able to give in that way. And it's something I know I focus on every day. How can I be in a loving state during my day, even when I'm not especially feeling it, even when I'm dealing with my own inner conflicts? How can I pop into that state when I need to? How can I open my heart when I least want to sometimes?
Yes.
And that's an important practice to do as well. So my friend, anything else that you want to add to our cast today?
I think that's it, just for
I think that was a
everyone to-
powerful one. I'm excited about that one. You really did some good work there, so thank you.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. We'll see you again soon.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.